Right, yeah, let's begin. How you doing, everybody? Sorry, just grabbing my notepad so I've got somewhere to write some stuff. Hope everyone's doing well on this. What day are we on? Tuesday. Yeah, back on Tuesday streaming again. This is pretty good. So definitely going to stream today. Definitely going to stream. Well, obviously I'm streaming today, and also going to stream on Thursday this week. Oh, what is going on? I can hear cats messing. What are you doing, cats? Oh, it's you messing with your toys. All right, fair enough. That's all right. Oh, I just noticed that the alerts kind of reflect through the mic a little bit, so I may have to just turn my sound down a little bit on there so it doesn't get picked up by the mic. Otherwise, I have to wear headphones. I can't see who that was. Nicomo. Thank you, Nicomo. Thank you for the bits. Appreciate it. Oh, you did a raffle for one. It's rounded down, hasn't it? Oh, always does weird kind of noises when the subscription comes in for some reason. Thank you, Andy, for the resub. Appreciate it as ever. I'm going to drink some wine tonight. I'm drinking. I got this at Christmas. Actually, Catherine got me a bottle at Christmas, and it's just been sat in my wine rack, and I haven't touched it. So I thought I would give it a go tonight. I was going to drink it the other night, but I didn't have a bottle opener. I've lost my bottle opener in my move, so I had to go and buy one from the shop. So now I've got one. I can actually open it because this is cork wine, not freaking screw top wine. Which is how you know it's fancy, right? So tonight we're going to do a bit of. It will have gone off. Yeah, I didn't open it, so. Yeah, it's decent wine. Not in a box, no. Actually, wine in a box lasts longer than it does in an open bottle. So if you open a bottle and then close the bottle again, you probably get about a week out of a bottle of wine before it starts tasting of vinegar and it starts going off. But boxed wine, because of the way it works, you never actually not putting air back into the thing. It's just taking the stuff out. It lasts like 6 to 8 weeks or something in a box. It's just a shame there's not that many great box wines. Most of them are a bit shit. This bottle opener feels like it's just going to shatter the moment I do anything with it. Let's see, I mean, it's plastic. Plastic bottle opener. That's, well, apart from, I'm assuming that's not plastic. That must be metal. As long as it can take the cork out, I don't really care if it breaks after this. Just need to drink one bottle of wine. I mean, it feels so cheap, this thing, but it's plastic. The white bit is plastic, but this is like probably some cheap die-cast metal or something. So yeah, I'm going to stream on Thursday as well. There is a small chance that I may be streaming on Saturday as well. I really want to crack on with this game. I think it's in a really good state. It just needs to. You'd be a little nervous opening a bottle over your keyboard. Yeah, it's good. Very good point, actually. Very good point. This is the third keyboard I've bought since I moved. I've only been here 6 weeks. I think I showed it you last time, didn't it? It's a smaller version of the one I had last time. It's 80% or whatever it is, I think. But I've got another one coming. I've got a board coming. No switches, just a PCB. And the reason I'm getting that is because it's a PCB that's hot swappable switches. It's 80%, so it's the same size as this, same kind of layout as this. And it's got Bluetooth on it, but it's a blank PCB, so I can build a case around it and do pretty much whatever I want. So thanks for the help earlier. I'm writing some code even as we speak. Awesome. Yeah, I'm kind of looking to do a bit more Mega 65 at some point in the near future. I just don't know when when that will be. Where I got that PCB. Yes, I will. I'll see if I can dig it out. Actually, let me just have a look. It's in my emails. So it's I forget the name of it now. I'll find it. But it should be coming soon. I think it's like most of these things. I think it's made in China, but it's not put me off getting it anyway. Oh, God, how long ago did I do it? Oh God, let's skip back. I freaking see my emails from this side. So one thing I have done, I'll show you in a minute, because my second screen is all the way over there. So what I did was I did a little bit of kind of editing on my admin panel to make it a bit more readable from a distance. And now it's kind of a bit ridiculous, but it's what I need. So I think what I need is glasses actually, but oh God, where is it? Do you know? I don't know where it is. I will dig it out. It's knocking around somewhere. I had a conversation with Sean about it. So it'll be in my message history with Sean as well. I should probably let this breathe a little bit because it's quite a decent wine and it's going to be quite a full-bodied one, so it's probably going to need a. Oh God, yeah, it's going to need a little bit. That's quite. I'll let it air out a little bit. But you got your keyboard from Tesco. Oh. I have two collections of keyboards. I have what's basically a large kind of industrial picking bin in that room with my throwaway keyboard. So that has like the the £5 HP keyboard, or a keyboard that's been so old and used it's just not worth kind of keeping in nice condition anymore. They just get thrown in that bin along with the mice. So I've just got like probably about 5 or 6 keyboards, probably about the same amount of mice in there. And then I've got a very special collection of mechanical keyboards, which is just like kept in nice and neat and tidy, and that's what I'm going to look after. Anyway, hey Thalamus, glasses of wine. Yes, it wasn't from AliExpress. No, it was. I can't remember the name of the site. I will dig it out for you later. I'm not going to bring my emails up on screen. That would be crazy. Right, let's see if I can't get this TV backlight to stop doing this thing. Let me turn that off for a second. There we go. Actually, I think I can turn it off while I'm streaming. So I do need to have it on sometimes, but I do need to make sure that it stays off while I'm doing this, or at least is less than it is at the moment. I think it's in support, so you can't see what I'm doing here, but this is basically turning it has like a setting where if the screen doesn't change for a while, it dims, which is great for for saving the OLED, but for streaming it's a bit of a nightmare because I can't really see it. There we go, just logo brightness. Static images such as logos prevent the screen from occurring. Yeah, it just adjusts it. So I'm just going to turn it off and it should stop doing that. And I just need to turn it back on again at some point. Yeah, Carta Roja Rioja. Let's give it a try. Oh, that is very, very nice, actually. Oh, I feel like I should be eating a steak with that. Oh well. Oh well. Oh well. Thank you for the resub, SP. Appreciate it as ever. So yeah, as I say, I'm definitely going to stream on Thursday. There's about 50-50 chance that I'll stream on Saturday. It really depends. It depends what I'm going to be doing during the day. Reserva. No, Reserva. It actually says Grand Reservada, this one. Actually, I put Grand Reservada. I think it is a Grand Reserva, but it's their particular brand of it or something. I don't know. It's Actually, I'm not sure. I don't think it can be a Gran Reservada at 2015. I can't remember the years, how many it has to be for it to be a Gran Reserva, but I think it might be a little bit of marketing spin that I don't think it is a Gran Reserva. I think they've just called it a Grand Reservada to make it seem like it is. So yeah, I think it has to be. I think it has to be 8 years old for it to be a Gran Reserva. I can't remember the exact age of it, but this is only 7, and this was bought last year, so it was 6 when it was bought. Okay, so we're going to do Cecconoid tonight. We're going to do a little bit of optimization. I was talking about last year, last stream. I was reading Andy's comment there. COVID years don't count. Yeah, they really don't. Only 2020 and 2021. I mean, the most forgettable years in terms of cool things that happen, but the most memorable in terms of the shit. Yeah, in like for I think for most people personally, 2020 and 2021 was kind of quite dull. There wasn't really a lot going on. Maybe actually I say that I had family issues and my dad died and stuff like that. So that I think there were things that were going on, but there was no opportunity to kind of it's not like you can say, oh, my Magaluf holiday 2021, because nobody went abroad. Not that I'd go to Magaluf. I've been to Magaluf, but I'm too old for that shit now. 120, it was 6 months ago. Yeah, 6 months ago was my last stream. So it's him, my father. Yeah, that's fine. It was August 2020, just when the lockdowns were really kind of kicking in, so I couldn't really do anything. I won a PS5, great year. Yeah, we do get to work from home now. That's a good point. Although it looks like I'm going to be going back into the office at least one day a week starting in March. So, Rocco Rioja, yeah, red wine. Anyway, actually, this is called Red Card. That's a very good, or Red Menu, I guess. Well, Carter is card, so this is called Red Card. Oh, this should be dangerous wine that gets you sent off. Okay, so we're going to do some optimization. There was some stuff I wanted to do around the force field. I felt like there was definitely things in there that we could be doing better. I just wanted to get it working first. So let's just remind ourselves where we're at with it, and then we'll go into it and do some optimization. I was having a bit of a think about what's left for the force field. So while what we have now is enough, because I want to work on the game as you would play through it. So if you were playing a completionist run of the game where you play the game, you go through every screen, pick up everything. The order that you do it in is the order that we're going to code everything in. That's how we're going to work through it. So what will happen is the very beginning will be difficult, will be slow, and it has been, right? So to get to this point has been a year of development, pretty much. Well, I say year. I mean, it's been one day, 58 streams, I think, of about 2 to 3 hours each. So about a month's worth of work if you were working in an office. But that has basically built the building blocks for everything else. So it's built the architecture around everything else. So one thing we definitely need to do is we need to make sure it clears those objects as we leave the screen, because you can see there it creates a mess on the screen. So we need to do that. 9 months of that was waiting for me to finish them out. Gran Reserva tells that the wine has been in the oak barrel for at least 5 years. Oh, is it 5? I thought it was longer than that for Gran Reserva. Oh well, maybe it is then. Well, it must be because it's 2015. So yeah, it will have been. All right, maybe it's just a weird spelling of it then. Right, it does. Yeah, it does say aged in oak barrels and giving it unique. Okay, yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Anyway, it's very nice. Anyway, the plan is going to be or the way this is going to work is as we go on, each screen that we come to will have more and more things that we've already dealt with, that we've already created or are partially created. So as we go on, it should get easier and easier to do the screens as we go. And this is why I want to do them in order. So the way this works at the moment is you would start on the other screen, you'd come into this one, probably go up here and grab the power-ups up here, which I think are working now, aren't they? Let's just go and double check everything. Let's just make sure everything's. You're kidding me. Everything's working as it should be. So actually, let's start let's start right at the beginning. Let's just work through and let's see where we're at. And if there is anything we need to do, we'll take notes and do it. But we'll go through this a few times before we complete. I know of at least one thing we definitely need to do, which is a global thing, which is the weapons. So at the moment, the weapons, I think they all do very standard damage. Like the ones with one bullet does 1 hit point damage. Oh no, points. Yeah, let me set the points. The ones with 2 bullets do 2 damage. The ones with 3 bullets do 3 damage. But the ones with 3 bullets don't spread out like they should do. So that's a little addition we need to do at some point. Oh, that's hard to see from there. There we go. There's all your points. And there's the races. Dialect Pinotage wines. That's the South African one, isn't it? Yeah, I do. Pinotage is nice. Yeah, like I do like my red wines. I went through a phase of drinking loads and loads of red wine, but I've kind of chilled out a little bit on it recently. Did you ever test the game on bare metal? No, I haven't tested it for a while actually on bare metal. It should be absolutely fine though. There are very, very few things I've ever seen that run on Vice but don't run on the real hardware properly. There's a couple of things, but I don't think there's anything that I'm doing in particular that I'm doing that won't. So yeah, weapons is one thing we definitely need to upgrade. We'll do that at some point, but I don't think there's a major urge to do that right now. It's not completely necessary. I'd rather just get all the screens working first, and then with what we've got left, work on weapons and stuff. So you'd go up there, grab the mace, you'd come down here, then you'd use the mace to kind of clear things out a little bit. Everything explodes and works properly, which is good. So Robotron screen works properly now as well. Oh, damn it. Okay, well let's just I'm not going to play through the whole thing, but yeah, we know that that's working up to that point, and then you come back through here and you open this door, and then you're in this point here. Now you can't actually turn this off yet, so I'm not going to do the off animation for this yet. I'm not even sure if we're going to do an off animation for this, or if we'll do something a little bit to take a slight kind of creative liberty here instead. So I believe what happens on the original is when the force fields stop, the particle field gets less and less dense until it just disappears. It happens over about the space of a second or so. It's very quick. But the problem with that is because we're using a set strip of characters, it's very hard for us to suddenly start depleting that field if there's more than one force field on the screen. So if there's more than one force field on the screen and we start fading one out, it's going to fade them all out. So what you'd have to do is once one starts fading out, you'd have to draw. You never see this one disappear, but we will see, like on the screen just down and to the right, I think it is, you will see them. And this is what I mean. It's got 3. In fact, let's go down to that screen. I'll show you what I mean. So this screen is going to be a new item to do on here soon. So here there's 5 force fields, and these ones up here kind of turn on and off in a sequence. So you kind of work your way through these. So as they turn off, what happens is the particle effect kind of fades out until it disappears, and then it kind of turns on again. But what I was thinking of doing instead of that is just having the particles just cleared from the center, so they just kind of zip up, or even just like from one side, so it looks like the force field kind of is being generated and then it moves and just kind of clears. I'm not sure. Soon you need to change the color around. Oh, do it with the can you change the color to gray to simulate? Could do. The problem with that though is it would affect all particles and everything that pass through that. There's more chance that there could be bugs created by that than just clearing them out. So one of the reasons why the force fields work quite well is because you can obviously you can shoot through here at the moment, but the moment the force field is drawn here, it now becomes a non-blank character, and all non-blank characters are blockers. So if by having a non-blank character, by having a non-blank character for the force field, you automatically can't pass through it or can't shoot through it, which is perfect. That's exactly what we want for it. So I'm thinking you can just kind of almost kind of like a transition effect. So instead of just turning it off straight away, you turn off a section in the middle, and that just expands. And when it turns on, it goes the other way as well. But I mean, it's not a problem. We won't need to do that till we get to this particular screen. So before we get to that screen, we need to do this screen here, which I just died on, which is going to be actually just these things here. So these are 4 turrets. They have like little and homing kind of bullets that are on there. They should be fairly easy to do. We'll just do them with sprites. It shouldn't be too difficult to do. And this screen is done as far as we need it right now, with the exception of one thing, which is when you leave the screen, it needs to clear those characters. Otherwise, we get that weird pattern. I think, does it need a door? It might need a door here as well. I can't remember. I think I need to check. It might need to put a door here so you can't go back this way. Can't remember. Hero Dev, welcome again. Thank you for the raid once more. Welcome along, everybody. Hope you're all doing very well. Happy Tuesday. Have a drink. Actually, do you know what? I'm going to drink a bottle of wine tonight on a Tuesday. This is really not a good idea for me, but I don't care. I'm going to enjoy it. So, I do have work tomorrow. I do have a meeting relatively early, not too early, but I have a meeting before lunch, so I need to be preferably not hungover. But anyway, I'm going to drink a wine to say cheers to everybody that's come along. Happy Tuesday, everybody. So I'm Shannon50k, for those who haven't been here before. Do a bit of C64 coding, which is mostly what we're going to be doing this year, at least for the first part of the year anyway. But we do adventure into some other realms now and again. Game Boy, Mega 65 have been the other 2 platforms that we've looked at. But tonight is Commodore 64. If those force fields were multicolour, that's less bytes to plot, isn't it? No. It would still be the same, because you'd still have to. You'd still have the same number of bits to plot. It's just that they would. You would lose resolution. Actually, it would be one of the ways the force field could be massively improved performance-wise is to not have it aligned the way it is, with the center of the force field down a dividing line. However, that seems like it would be an absolute nightmare in terms of map design and stuff. So, because it would all need rethinking quite a lot. So. Wouldn't be a great thing. Anyway, let's start by, first of all, I need to get the new map in. So actually, Thalamus sent me a map. So let me just grab that and put it into the folder. That's the one. I'm going to save that into my Cecconoid folder. It's map. Was it map? Yeah. Okay. I'm interested in streaming today. That's streaming for you. Happens all the time. Okay. So what we're going to do first of all is we're going to fix that character glitch, basically. So I'll show you again what I mean. So you'll see as I leave the screen, what happens is the characters that were being used to draw the force field, they're dynamically generated characters, and dynamically generated characters are generated at the next available space in the font set. And because of the way that the screens share the font set between any two screens, share half of the font set. Well, just less than half because there's a base set of characters as well. Basically, when you move into another screen, half of that character set gets rewritten by the new screen's data, and the area that gets rewritten is what's being used starts where the previous screen's dynamic character data is being used. We could make it start afterwards, but then we'd reduce the number of characters we can have per screen, and we could run into all sorts of problems there. Reserve chars at the end for force fields. Yeah, there's already quite a lot reserved. It's absolutely fine. We just need to clear them as we move. We do it already with the doors. So you'll see with the. If I come in here and just move down here, hopefully without dying. Yeah. So you see that door, you see how it disappears as I move off the screen, and that's just to stop that thing from happening, because that's also a dynamic character as well. And there will be a few things that are dynamic characters like that, so you just got to be careful that we don't. Oh, God damn it, I died. Got to be careful that we don't break the character set by kind of reserving too many. So there you see the force field there, and if I move off the screen, you'll see how junk is written there, and that junk is basically the data for this screen being written into memory as we slide across. That's what lets us have multiple characters by more than 256 characters in the character set. Oh, do you know, today was the first day since January 5th, 6th that I didn't have an antihistamine. And I paid the price for it because I've been itching like crazy all day, and I'm really not happy. I mean, I had some probably about 2 hours before the stream, but I feel like it's set me off a little bit more than I probably needed to. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. We're going to just clear this. So we can take a look at the way the doors work, because the doors do exactly the same thing. So we can see how the doors do it, and we can replicate that in the force field as well. So we have clear doors. Let's have a look what clear doors does. I'm assuming it's just writing some data into the character set. Oh, this is actually removing it from the screen. Oh, that's one way. That's one way to do it, actually. I'm not sure what would be quicker, though, actually. I think clearing the force field characters themselves. So let's have a look at the force field. Actually, we can do this as part of the optimization as well. So one of the things that we need to do with the optimization is we need to stop this from being called every frame. Basically, this is called several times every frame to generate the characters for each of these field character values here. Let's get rid of these bytes. Don't need these anymore. So we'll start by recording the addresses at kind of generation time. And the reason why that will help us with the clearing is when we go to clear, we can just look at these addresses, work our way through them, and writing zeros into those locations, and that will clear them. So basically, we need to do this, but we need to do that in a way that it generates these values. Basically, in an array down here, I guess. So we've got this char indices. This points to the left and right of each character. So we also need. So we want field char addresses. Okay, so this is going to contain all of the addresses for these characters here. So it's basically going to be exactly the same as this, but this time times 4. So let's write down what we're doing here. So times 2, because left and right char per row, times 4 row address 2 bytes. Okay, so what we need to do is, as we generate the force field for the first time in here, actually it would be, let's try to generate char address. Copy chars. Okay, so we copy the characters. And then we do the characters here as well. I just got to remember, I forgot how this works. See, already I'm forgetting how this works. I don't know if this is the wine or what. Okay, so we need to basically do it as part of this generate char address. This needs to find them all. So once we've copied these characters, we need to go in and generate them, the addresses as well. I feel like this should have an additional thing in here. Like that as an optional thing. So that we don't have to keep calculating that every time. We can do it in here, basically. So in this function here, let's just do address store like that. That's easier, isn't it, if I just do it like that? So if that is defined, then we need to store that address. So the target address is basically this value here. And that needs to increment for every character. So the way I need to do this is I need to set another vector up somewhere to write this. So I'm going to create, what have we got? We've got font index, font vec, screen temp vec, char character, door temp. Okay, I'm going to use one of those. So if we got font fetch, font vec, font index, I think I can use, because I created a new one, didn't I, down here? So I'm gonna use one of these, and I'm gonna call this font address vec. And so what I'm going to do with this is whenever this macro is called, if this exists, so if this is not undefined, so it'll be if tune. So the value is not null. Is it null or is it null? I can never remember. I think it's just that, actually. So if that's not null, then what we can do is we basically need to take this value and store it at our new font address vec. And that will allow us. My screen's still fading out. It's still getting. Let me just move that around so it gets brighter. Nope. There we go. I think it just automatically does it. I don't think I have any choice of it. So it's going to store that value. And then what I can do here is, while I'm doing this loop here, if, again, this is a macro, I can do this in the middle. And whenever I call this macro, it will work out if it needs to add this additional piece of code in or not. So if that is, then what we need to do is we need to grab the value at font vec plus 0. And font address vec, y. And we could increase y here to get this, because this y at this point is down to minus 1. So if I just do that, it'll save a byte. Then increase y again. Okay, so now we're storing those font address, but now what we need to do is we need to make sure that this value is incremented. So I need to remember, I know we haven't got increase word. I do need to check increase. Hang on. I can never remember. I work on so many bloody systems, I forget now what does what. Inc doesn't set the carry flag. It does set the... Right, so what I'm looking at is, if I increment a value, how can I check if it's gone over? It sets the 0 flag, so that should be enough. So basically, if I just do increment, that's not going to work either, is it? I basically need to add 2 to it. So I'd have to do it twice. So what I could do is, well, let's have a look what the difference is. So this would be 1. I need to do this twice, you see. So one way would be like this, and the other way would be to... it's going to be easy to just load it and add, isn't it? Is the carry flag clear here? We don't particularly know, so let's clear it anyway. Branchy plus. Yeah, we don't know. All right. There you go. That's much better. Okay, cool. So that is basically every time we write a character into memory, it's going to store in this address if we pass it in. If we don't pass it in, it won't do it, and it won't include that text either. Okay, let me just mute my phone. It's beeping like crazy. With other humans. Actually, we had this discussion today, didn't we, about commenting? And my opinion is, if you are writing something live, I don't think people have any right to comment on the quality of that code. It's not a normal environment. It's the same reason I don't like live coding tests for new devs when you're hiring new devs. It's a very different environment to what people are used to. When you code for your job, you don't have somebody watching you the whole time. I mean, pair programming is a bit of an exception, but that's generally a kind of team effort rather than one person just watching and judging you. So it's just, it's a very different environment, and I think firstly, commenting is rarely going to happen of any decent amount because you know you're going to do a lot of code. You can either do a lot of code or a lot of comments. You can't do both. You're not going to fit that into a stream, so you can't copy paste everything off step. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And every little thing you do is being judged. And I'm perfectly happy for people to judge my code and to but it should always be in the context that this is not how I would normally code. I would code very differently to this. Right. Anyway, so we're now storing those values in memory. So let's just check that that is the case. Actually, what we're going to get a compile error now, or a build error. And the reason we're going to get a build error is because we now have an extra parameter in that function, in that macro. And some of the macros are being called without that. So we need to pass the null in this one here. So in doors, up here, we need to pass a null in. That should be fine now. Oh no, there's another one in Robotron as well. Robotron ASM. Of course, that's the reason we did the macros, because we were using it in multiple places. So, line 143. Oh, you must be able to evaluate in the first pass. Wait, what? The condition must be able to. I'm sure I've done this before, though. Why is that not working? So it's being called from cart, line 66. Oh, is it because of the cart stuff? Oh, shit. That's a good point, actually. Cart stuff might be causing us a problem here, because basically we're importing it here, so it's been imported here, but it's been imported as dynamic code. But that shouldn't matter. That means it comes into here and runs this. Is it because it's a pseudo PC? Maybe. Its field child address is not in there at that point. Do I need to move that to the front? Let's move these. Well, I don't think this should matter, but just in case it does, I'm just going to move them up here. I don't think it does, though, but how's all these done as well? Oh, did that work that time? I think. Oh yeah, that did. That worked. Okay, so this is because the okay, right. The reason that worked is because what happens when a file is being passed is it basically creates I guess you would call it a token library of all these kind of all these labels. So every label and the address it corresponds to. So what it was doing, it was getting to this, and it hadn't yet been told what this was. So you have to declare it before. It's kind of like old C style, basically. So old C style, you had to declare things at the beginning of functions, at the beginning of methods and classes. And it's the same here. You kind of have to do it because it's passed in order. So if it gets to that point and it hasn't worked out what that is, then it won't be able to do it. So that's fine. There's a little thing to remember there, though. Okay, cool. So it hasn't changed anything on here, but what we should have in memory is some addresses for these characters. So I think as well, I think I fixed this. So I was complaining about Windows 11 last time. It wasn't Windows 11. I don't know if you can see this, but on the side of my keyboard, let me just move that window so I can see myself. So on the side of my keyboard, probably can't see it. There's a couple of switches, and one of the switches is Mac and Windows. So this keyboard will do Mac and Windows, Mac or Windows and Linux. And Mac is its own little special beast, and when it's in Mac mode, it behaves terribly. So that's what the problem was. It was the equivalent of pressing Windows and H. I was basically doing this, which fails basically. So yeah, you can use this as a Mac keyboard as well. So I'd pressed that switch by mistake. So anyway, that means that we can go and have a look at memory. So if we figure out where this is in memory, so field chart addresses, well, it will be at E800. It's not going to be anywhere else because it's right at the beginning of here. So if we go and have a look at E800, we should get a list of addresses in here. And these should be in the range of C908, C9. Yep, there we go, perfect. So if I go and have a look at C908, and I can see the values there, and if I fill C908 to, let's see, where does it go up to? C940. And there'll be a few bytes with zeros, and then go. You can see I've cleared that out now. Now, it will still be blocking, and the reason it's blocking is because it's not an actual clear character. It's just a character that has no pixels in it, but it is, as far as the map design is concerned, it's not a character 0, which is a blank. It's a non transparent character. So that's great. So that means now we've got those values, we can clear that properly, and we can use that for what else do we need it for? I forgot what else we need it for now. Oh, for the optimization as well. So let's start by clearing it, and then we'll do the optimization. So let's do a clear force field here. And clear force field is going to be really, really simple. It's going to take some addresses, and one by one, it's just going to clear the characters in it. It doesn't need to be particularly optimal, this code. Will this also work for multiple force fields? Yes, because it's clearing the character list itself. So it will clear the characters you identify as a non-transparent character. I hope you do. I hope everybody's a non-transparent character, because if you're not, you're a ghost. Or some kind of alien, or some kind of wizard, or Harry Potter. Yeah, Harry Potter with the cloak of whatever that stupid cloak is called. I don't actually like Harry Potter. It's just my kids watched it a lot, so I know there was a cloak, and you put it on, and I think it was just called the Cloak of Invisibility, right? Yeah, thank you, SP. Yeah. Okay, so to clear it, all we need to do basically is go through these addresses, taking 2 bytes at a time out until we get to the end of it. So we're going to do this with the X register. We're going to set this to 0, and we're going to keep going through this 2 bytes at a time until we reach this value here, which is field size times 4. And if we're not at that value, then we'll go back to the beginning and loop and return. Okay, so what does our loop actually need to do? Well, our loop needs to take the address that's at that location. So we need to take the value that's at... should have maybe just called that field chart address, but never mind. That value there. Actually, let's do this like that. There you go. And we need to store that at... this can just be some value 0 page where it really doesn't matter, because we're going to be we're leaving the screen. So we'll use font vec, because that seems to be the sensible one for us to use. That's the one that we use to actually write the stuff all the time. So we'll use it to clear the stuff as well, because it is still a write. And then we increase X, and then we store that at font vec +1. Right, now what we've done is we've set that address up there. Now what we need to do is we need to take the value 7 and the value 0, and we need to do a little loop here where we store that value, the accumulate at font vec, comma Y, and decrease Y until and that will clear the value. So let's actually write that in. We'll put a comment in here. We'll put a few comments in here and there, but it's not going to be a lot. But that should clear the force field. So now what we need to do is whenever we exit a screen that's got force fields in it, we need to clear them. So if we have a look at our would it be indoors? I can't remember indoors clears. Actually, we can have a look at one of the screens. So if we look at maps screen, so this is screen 12, I believe. Yeah, force field. I want to just check screen 11 to see what happens. So there's an update, and on exit, there is a doors clear on exit, but I'm not sure that's where it's being cleared. Because it's not being cleared on here, which is interesting. Okay, well, let's put it in here on exit. So we've got clear sprites. We'll jump to subroutine. Okay, that should be enough, I think. It's like the yeah, it's the same as the old forum and Nazis thing, wasn't it? If an argument goes on long enough, at some point somebody will call somebody else a Nazi, and the Hitler will be brought up, and the argument will be over. It's the same thing. So just see. Hopefully that should clear now when we leave. Okay, it doesn't quite clear. It's been because actually clearing the character is not what we want to do here. We do need to clear the characters on the screen because the characters are still there. We're just clearing them. We're just clearing the contents of them, but then the contents are being rewritten again. So actually, that was completely pointless. All of that. I'll leave that code in there because we do need to grab the addresses for our optimization, so that can stay there. But what we need to do is we need to clear these differently. So instead, what we're going to do is we're going to keep a list of force fields. So we'll create a value called next index. This will always start at 0, and this will be reset to 0 here. So let's just call it next. And then in here, we will have some addresses for things. So these are the values that get passed in here as well. So so this screen position here. So basically, let's call it dir. Okay, I'm going to put max force fields at 5 because that's the most I've seen so far, but we can change it to whatever we need it to be. This isn't really a performance thing. This is just a memory thing. And basically, whenever we create a force field, we need to store its data in here and increment the value. And that means when we go to clear it, we know where the force fields are and how to clear them. So we'll do that way. 5 is insanity. I think there's 5 on that screen. There's probably more on some other screens, but I don't recall. Anyway, new wine time. See, we're at 9:30, which is my normal start time, or my old start time, and I'm already half a bottle of wine in. It's going to be a good day tomorrow. I've got to do freaking app testing. I've got to do iOS app testing, so I hate iOS. Doing that with a hangover, that's going to be a nightmare. Okay. Do I also need the length of the fields? Do I need the length of the field? Yes, I do, because when we're drawing them, we draw them until there's no longer a blank character. But when we want to remove them, we don't know because it's not blank characters anymore. So yes, you're correct. Thank you. I'm going to give you 5 points for that. That's an AMK point there, Nicomo. Well done. I mean, that's snagging off Apple products. Actually, I have a lot of issues with Apple. I do have a lot of issues with Apple, but I'm kind of just kind of accepting it now. They're just a shit company that care about nobody but themselves. Like every company out there, it's just they've got their own little special brand of the way that they do it, and it just rubs me up the wrong way. I have to work with their shit all the time, and I'm kind of just over it anymore. But whatever. I just feel happy myself that I will never buy an Apple product myself, knowingly anyway, and that I know that the majority of what they're doing, there are better versions of it somewhere else that just don't have the ridiculous Apple branding and Apple shit on them. And that includes the M1 processor. My computer still kicks the shit out of the M1 for a fraction of the price. I'm sure it will change soon. I do appreciate what they're doing with the M1. I actually think that's one of the good things. So I do have a MacBook. Yeah, but it's a work MacBook. I didn't buy it. It's just one that I get forced to use basically. And all I do with it, I use it to check my emails because they only let they won't let us VPN from our home machines. But what I do is I have I log into my MacBook, check my emails on it, and then I remote desktop to it from my from my Windows machine, so I never have to actually use the Mac. Um, QG3 Android exclusive confirmed. Oh, Andy. Jesus Christ. Okay, right. So we've got screen position, the direction, and the length. So that means now when we add the force field, we need to store those values. So first of all, we need to take the screen positions and store those. So we're going to start by doing store values here. Um, so we're going to take like so. So we're actually grabbing screen position and storing that. We'll transfer Y to the accumulator. And we're going to have to change this now to compare Y to 0, which is a bit annoying, but because we're doing all this, we need to do this. Not screen plus the data don't die. So now we've got the direction and the screen start position, but now we need to actually count the length of the thing. So that's already been counted for us. Actually, is it being counted for us? No, it's not, is it? Okay, so we'll do it here. We'll do put a value in here, but what we'll do is we'll call this length here. And then if we put like so, that's now being stored down here. We'll take the X register and we will load that with like so. And then we need to. God, it's gone dark again. That's so annoying. There we go. Might not be the best screen for developing on on stream. Okay, so now every time we draw a piece, which we have to do here, so we draw a piece and we advance a row. So every time we advance a row, we add one to that. So we increment length. So increase this value down here, and then we can do store data. And come X. Right, cool. So now we've stored the length there as well. And the only thing that remains now is to increment this value so that the next time we add a force field, it uses the next one in the row. Cool. We're also going to need this because we're going to need to be able to have some persistent data for the door. I say persistent, it's not really persistent, but we're going to need some state for the door. So as well as that, we'll also have active, which for now we'll just leave empty. But when we come to it, we'll need this to turn them on and off. Oh, damn, the itching is really getting on my nerves now. Okay, cool. Okay, so when we clear it, instead of clearing the characters, instead what we need to do is we need to do the basically what we're doing here. Sort of what we're doing here. So again, this will be done in two sections, one whether we're doing vertical, one whether we're doing horizontal. For now, we're only doing vertical, so we'll just leave the horizontal one blank for now, and it'll be the same in here as well. So let's just clear all of this. So what do we need to do? We need to go through all of the screens. So we'll start here. We'll go. Actually, we'll use X and loop. So what we're doing is through each force field, right? And that will increase. We compare that to data next, and we continue until we reach the next value, basically, which means that we've done them all. And what do we need to do? Well, we need to basically set these values here by reading those values from the array. So we need to read data dot screenpos lsb x and store that there. So you could probably just do this directly with like that. No point in using that 0 page. We can just do it directly here. It's not. We're only writing a single value to it, so it's fine. So we write that value to it. MSB. Yep. Thank you very much. So look. So increase compare it to date next. Oh, that needs to be down here as well, doesn't it? Outside the loop. There we go. Okay, so we take the address, we store it at ScreenPos, and we store the value 0 at that location. And we continue doing that until the value hits. Okay, so we need to, this is an inner loop now, so we'll have a Y value here. We'll call this inner. And basically, every time we do this, we're going to add a value to it, same like basically like this. Using ScreenPos. I don't think we need that clear there. I don't think it's important. And do we increase Y as well? We always need to increase the Y. Actually, let's do that. Let's do it at the bottom. So that's the compare. And then we compare that to, oh shit. That to data.length x. So now we clear a character, we move down, clear another character. We keep doing that until, and every time we do that, we increase the Y register. And when the Y register matches the length of the line, we're complete. Right, that should be enough. That should hopefully clear the character properly now. Nope, something's gone wrong. Invalid addressing mode. Oh, because I've done. I've still got something wrong. What have I done? Oh, compare Y with that value from X. Okay, that's fine. I just need to transfer. Can't do this, so I have to do this. There we go. Oh. Okay, so now if we leave the screen, it should clear properly. Oh no, it's cleared half of it. Why is it only cleared half? Oh, okay. It's cleared one side, not the other. Why is it cleared one side, not the other? Ah, it's cleared one side, not the other, because it's not. We need to do the length times 2, basically. Because we're not clearing. There's two pieces to each one, so we need to do this twice, basically, and then increase Y. Sorry, no, increase X. So this needs to happen twice. We're using Y, we're using X here as well. Okay. Oh no, hang on. No, it's fine. This is fine, isn't it? Sorry, I'm just being stupid, aren't I? Ah, shit, I should have done this as... I should have done this as 0. No, damn it. All right. Fuck. No, it's fine. I'll cheat. Not really like this, but it's probably better than, because I'm using the Y register here, so it's not going to be too easy to do. It's not going to be too easy to use that Y register because we need it for it. We'd have to use a 0-page register or something to count this value here, but that should work anyway. And that would be... No, it's not right, is it? Because no, it's going to have to use 0-page because this has to be... Okay, that's fine. Let's use font vec. It's really, really warm in here as well. More wine, that's always the solution. So this value needs to count up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to store this in a temporary value in 0-page instead. So I'm going to use... I'll use font index. It really doesn't matter. Actually, we've got temp values, haven't we? There you go. Let's put in one of these temp values. That's exactly what they're for. keep going back to the wrong file. There we go. So now we're using that value. We can use the Y register to do this. So I was trying to be clever, and it wasn't going to work. That's fine. All right, there we go. So now we're writing two values, and now we can just do this with one single thing. This kind of the point of using indirect addressing, is to avoid kind of having to write multiple values like that. Just use one and reuse it like that. Yes, 6502. With the Z register, this would have been super easy because I wouldn't have had to use this temporary value. But I mean, this is what 6502 coders do. They use zero page as kind of a register store anyway, a lot of the time. So there's always a couple of temporary values in zero page which are especially used for this because it's better than using the stack. But the stack is another valid way of doing it as well, I guess. But it would have been a bit more complicated to do it with the stack, I think. Here, zero page is way more efficient because you can do various operations on the values. Okay. All right, that should be fine now. Let's just put a little comment in here to say what we're doing here. Okay, let's try that. I think that should be fine. Let's see if we get any errors from that. I feel like there was an error there. No, there wasn't. Okay, cool. There we go. Perfect. So one thing it is doing is it's actually clear. If you watch this dome at the top, it's clearing that dome straight away, which is wrong. What it should be doing is doing the advance first. So we need to start by advancing to the next row. We were doing that on the previous. When we build it, we need to do it also when we clear it as well. So we probably need to add one to the count, to the length count, to make it work. Because we're probably going to get a blank, a piece of force field at the bottom. So watch the very bottom of this force field. Oh, actually, that didn't work at all, did it? What the hell happened there? That was weird. Oh. Forgot to move the local label as well. It's just cleared too much. You see how it's cleared. It's left that there, but it's cleared this at the bottom as well, and it shouldn't be doing. So that's easy enough to do. So at the moment, what we're doing is we're counting until we reach the length. Whereas what we should be doing is this length should be being recorded slightly differently. It should be one less than the value it's currently recording. So, and the reason that's happening is because we advance a row every time. Whereas what we should be doing is advancing the length here only if there's no blank. So to do this horizontally is really simple. We basically, the code will be almost identical. It's just the value that gets added will be different. So instead of adding 28, we'll be adding a 1, and for the characters below, we'll be adding 40. So we'll draw a character plus 40, then add 1 to the address, and then repeat, and so on. Could possibly be parameterized, but I don't think it's necessary. Again, this is dynamic code. So there you go. Perfect. That's working exactly as we want it to now. Notice how the swarm clears as well, because it does a clear sprites thing. So this is a compromise we have to make when we're moving between screens on this. But cool. That's basically this side of things almost done. Now we just need to do some optimization. So you can see as I move around, you can see the size of the the size of the raster time taken to do this. The white bar in the and it's moving around because we're doing things which are interfering with the flow of the rasters here and there. But what's happening is it's only kind of causing some particle flicker and stuff. The rasters have been organized in such a way that there are critical things that happen first. So very, very kind of game critical visual stuff happens first. Then non-critical stuff or stuff that's non-visible happens after that, and then like the least kind of important stuff. So the decals and the particles are the least important thing. They can disappear from the screen and the game is still perfectly playable. It's not ideal that they do, obviously, and we need to avoid that where we can, which is why we have the performance values. So let's go ahead and do some optimization on this. So the optimization I was thinking of first of all was to remove this where is it? Oh, why is this so? Why is there a massive gap here? What's that about? Oh, was there? Oh, this was the original method. Right, let's get rid of this method. We didn't need that one. So the problem is we do this. We generate the character address every time. Because we get a character address and then we get another character address here. We shouldn't be doing that. We should just be loading that address directly into these values. So the way we'll do that is, instead of generating the character address here, we've already generated that character address. It's already been calculated. We don't actually need to do this anymore because it's already generated by this routine here, this macro here, which means all of this code here is now unnecessary. So what is actually happening is we're passing these values in and it's returning a value to store into the char address array, which is this here. So let's have a look at how we can replace that in here. So this is what happens. The char index locates. So we grab a char indices here, index into 0 page address array. So that needs to be output to somewhere. So let's have a look. So that would be the address array is this one here. So basically, we're storing a value at this location, comma x, and then another value at +1, comma x, and those values come from char addresses. Oops, God damn it. 0, comma y. Now, we can't just use y directly because y is currently pointing to the char index and not the char addresses. So it's pointing to this value here, which is a ×2 value. We need a ×4 value, so we need to double it before we use it. Where's it gone? Where's it freaking gone? It's in the update part, update. There, yeah. So before we transfer it, we need to do that. We need to double it. So we need to double. And this X is pointing to which side of the now that can stay the same. The random numbers, this is something we could mess with. I'm not going to worry too much about that right now, but let's separate that into because this is the odd number thing, isn't it? All right, so that needs to stay there. Okay, so basically we need to, let's just copy that exactly as it is. That would be 2. Like that. So this should do exactly the same thing now, but without that generate address, without this thing, which is now no longer being called. Let me just double check that that's not being called in the update function. So yeah, it's not being called at all. And just to make sure, I'm going to comment that out. There we go. Details are only shown in the middle of fast. Yeah, that's why we're doing the optimizations to try and fix that. Each screen is going to be tweaked individually. You can kind of think of it. Oh, something's crashed there. You can think of each screen as a kind of new game in a sense, because the setup can be completely reconfigured for each screen as we go along. Right? Why is that not working? Something's not picked the right address there. Let's have a look. So. Oh no, we've got. Oh no, we don't want that at all. Actually, what we want is don't want that. We don't want that. Why is it being pushed into the stack? Oh, because we're grabbing it here. Is that transfer to Y there? Okay, so because this was grabbing the indices, we don't want the indices. We want the index into the indices array. So that's what we've grabbed here, and that's what is being converted here. Now, this is working out. This is this is the one it's swapping with, isn't it? So this is working out which side it should be on. So we grab another random number here. Okay, I think that should be right. Let's check that. There's probably a little bit of optimization we can do around this, but I think that's probably okay. It's gonna be better than it was anyway. Nope, we're still gonna crash. Damn it! All right. Oh, I didn't save that file. That might have something to do with it. Oh no, it's still gonna crash. Damn it! All right. Oh, it could be the stack stuff now. So let's have a think about the stack. So pushing here, pulling here, pushing processor state, pulling processor state, and then there's no other pulls or pushes. Okay, so it's not the stack stuff. Oh, there we go. That's the problem. I was grabbing the least significant byte twice, so it was doing some weird stuff. There we go. And you see now we're not getting any stuff. So we've already optimized it in a way that is improving the the raster timings, because we're no longer encroaching into the middle of the screen. Now, the decals are the least important thing, so you can see how the decals don't appear at the top. They only appear down towards the bottom. So let's have a go at just tweaking some of the performance values on here to see if we can fix that. So we can reduce the particle number on here. We don't particularly need a lot of particles. 6 particles is probably plenty, but let's make it a nice round 8. In terms of sprites, we do need quite a few. Let's just give the game a pause. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 sprites here, plus a minimum of 3 we need reserved for that. So we need 18 sprites for that to work. So let's go and have a look at our macros, just to remind ourselves how this works. So there is a performance tweaker that we have that we can use on every screen that allows us to change the multiplexer size. Oh, it's not in that, is it? It's in the screen macro. It's this one. I can never remember which order it's in, though, so I always have to check first. Performance, sprites, and then particles. Okay, so if we have a look at screen 12, we can see there is no performance stuff done in this at all. So if we look at screen 11, so the screen before it, this was the laser screen, has 24 sprites and 16 particles set up. We can actually reduce that quite a lot on this screen. So let's set that for, it should be the first thing we do on a screen. I don't think it is the first thing we do on here, actually. Oh yeah, it is. So it should be the first thing we do. I think we should be all right with 18 sprites. I will test that theory in a minute. And particles 8. So the reason why this is helpful is because if you do you want to test that with the mace as well? That does include the mace, yeah. So so the reason why we have three characters reserved at all times for the player is for the mask, for the player itself, for the black mask that happens when it goes behind things, and for the mace. Now, the black mask will never actually appear on this screen, but it may. Actually, you know, this is a screen-specific performance, so this is probably okay as it is then. What's this? I recognise it. Oh, this is Luma, isn't it? So I think that's probably all right. Let's give that a try. You'll see as we increase the performance, we start to have less glitching, or the glitching moves across the up the screen somewhat. So you can see that obviously the sprite counters cause some problems, but you can see the decals are working all the way up the screen. Particles look absolutely fine though. But yeah, the sprite. Why are we only seeing that many sprites? That's weird. Certain sprite values seem to cause issues, and I'm not sure why that is. Set to 16. I'm really not sure why that is. It might be to do with the way. No, actually, it shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter. Okay, but just reducing. So the reason why this has a massive effect is particles have to be. Every particle position has to be calculated and updated every frame. That means it needs to be. Its last position needs to be cleared. Its new position needs to be redrawn, calculated, and then redrawn. And if you do 64 particles, that's a lot of drawing. So obviously, reducing that number down linearly reduces the overhead for doing this. Sprites, on the other hand, is a more exponential performance reduction. Because what happens is every time you add a sprite to the multiplexer, that's an exponential increase in the sorting algorithm. So by reducing that number down, we can get it down to levels where the sort is having almost no effect on anything. Unfortunately, I don't think this screen is going to work like that. I think we're going to need more sprites. But again, we can do things like reduce the number of sprites in the swarm. We can do lots and lots of things to improve the situation here. So yeah, I don't know why those are so bad on this side. Or oh, hang on, I'm doing it the wrong way around, aren't I? I'm being an idiot. That's why. It's sprites. It's sprites particles. That's why. Yeah, that's the other thing as well. So at the moment we're updating the force field 4 times a frame actually, whereas now we're updating it a lot less. But yeah, this is looking. Sorry, we update 4 times a frame to make it move like this, but we can reduce the speed slightly. But you can see now the decals work almost all the way to the top. And they just flicker a bit at the top, so that's actually looking pretty good. The sprites seem to be fine. There's a little bit of flickering in the sprites, so I might add another sprite performance in there. So let's just add another sprite in. Let's add 2 in, and then let's set the speed to be a bit slower. So the reason it slows because it does this 4 times. So let's just take 1 out. It's only gone for 10 minutes. What did you break? No, we're just setting the performance for this screen before we move on to the next one. So one of the advantages of treating this as almost like a new, each screen is almost a new game. Yeah, there you go. Look, that's not bad. And that force field still looks all right. I mean, it's not updating quite as quickly, but it looks okay. And now the decal's working almost all the way up. I think at the very, very top it flickers a little bit. Okay, cool. I just want to check if I move up and down, sprites seem to be fine. Okay, I'm going to take 1 sprite because I really want to tweak every screen to get the perfect performance. And there's no need for us to have more sprites than we need. Although I will turn the mace on just to test this as well. Let's just see if we can get it to work. It looks fine. Also, I like that force field looks good. See what I mean about the values? Sometimes the values look good, sometimes they don't. This one looks particularly good. I like this one. All right, let's add the mace in and just check that that's still working. So if I go to player has mace, a bit of Nemo as well. That looks good. Not seeing any flickering of the sprites there. It's fine. And the decals work almost all the way up, but not quite. I mean, they start flickering around about here. And at the very top there, they're constantly flickering. Like they're more off than they are on, but that's fine. There's still optimizations we can do on this as well. So, you know, there's still things we can do here. I just want to. I'm just having a little think about how this force field works. I just want to try something quickly. Just in terms of the random number generator that's generated in here. So at the moment it's doing a random number between 0 and 5. So it's doing 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I'd rather it didn't do the 3. The 1, 2, and 4 are fine, and the 0 is fine, but I'd rather it didn't do the 3. So what I'm going to do... that's just not going to work, is it? So what happens if I just put 4 in there? I just want to see what it looks like. I'm just trying to make it look a bit more close to the thing. And then I'm going to take a quick break, and then we'll go down to the screen below and start looking at that one. So that's got a new entity in there. It shouldn't be too difficult to set up, but it might take a stream or two to get it quite right. But yeah, that doesn't quite work, does it? Because it's got that gap in it now, so it doesn't look right. Okay, but we can come back and we can sort out those values. At the moment, they're just random values, but we can make these hard coded. So let's have a look at where that sits in terms of memory now. What we're using to create that effect shouldn't be a lot, I don't think. Oh, do we not have? Oh, we didn't put any labels in here for this. I do it here, I believe. Yeah, I mean, it's nothing. It's what's that? It's like 530 bytes or so. Absolutely loads of room left, so it's absolutely fine. Did the force fields make any sound? No. So the game is actually going to have no. It's just music, I believe. I don't think there is any planned. Although one thing that is interesting, and this is something I should probably speak to Andy and Jason about. I noticed on Twitter the other day that Jason Page was doing some tweaks to Goat Tracker. Now, the reason why we're having problems with, well, not problems, but the reason why sound effects and music is a choice between one or the other and not both at the same time is because currently we're using music done by Jason Page. Thank you for the resub, Warlock. Welcome to the stream. How you doing? Well, we're using music done by Jason Page that was done on Sid Tracker for iOS. Now, really good. Does some really good music. In fact, the music for this game is incredible. I think it's a really, really, really good piece of thing. But there's two problems with it. One, it doesn't have a sound effect system built into it, which Goat Tracker does. And two, it uses probably about 2 or 3 times the raster time that Goat Tracker does. So I'm hoping, with a bit of luck, that Jason manages to finish the work that he's doing on Goat Tracker, and is willing to do the music, redo the music. He's got the music there. You know, it's just a matter of copying the notes for the most part. To redo it in Goat Tracker with sound effects enabled, because then we kill 2 birds with 1 stone. One, we allow sound effects in the game, which is going to add a lot to it. But bring it more in line with the original game. But 2, it's gonna free me up probably about 10 to 15 raster lines, which doesn't sound like a lot, but this game is very tight. This is why we had the performance things in there. It would be the difference between these decals flickering at the top and not flickering at the top. That is how tight the timings are in here. So yeah, if we can get that, that would be great. I mean, I can show you now if I turn the music off. If I can remember where the music is now, actually. I guess it's going to be in the game loop, isn't it? It must be. Oh, it's going to be in the IRQ, isn't it? There we go. So if I just turn this one off here. So this is just turning the music off, but you'll see where it's interrupts. Yes, that's Israel. Do you know what? I will give you 5 points because you're not even off the board yet. So it's the last time I'm going to be super, super, super easy with you. But I will give you 5 points for that. I'm feeling generous tonight. You knew where it was. It's fine. Looking forward to the whining from the NTSC brigade. Well, the NTSC brigade can all go to CSDB and get their shit copy from there. So I'm sure what they'll do. Now, I'll do my best to make an NTSC version as well. NTSC version can just be simple things like turning particle performance off on certain screens. It can be adjusted per screen as well. So didn't get points for your MSB hint. I gave you points, didn't I? Did I not give you points? I'm not sure. I didn't. I tried giving him points. Let me give you some points then. Sorry. Another 5 for you there. There you go. Oh right, yes. So you can see there, look, where the the decals are almost perfect now because I've turned the music off. So the music has quite a big effect on what we can do on the screen. So if we can really get the music done in Goat Tracker, that'd be really good. So I don't know if Thalamus is listening, but it would be something I'd really appreciate if he could do, because it would give us a little bit more performance, and it would allow us to have sound effects, which would be incredible. Because I think the sound effects really would add to it quite a lot. Or at the very least, it would give you the option of sound effects, because obviously using sound effects means you would drop one of the channels at some point. So it would have to be thought out so that the channels are arranged in a way that there is one that can kind of drop out more than the others. I don't know which one it would be, but we can work together on it. I'm sure we can come up with an idea. I don't think he's listening. I don't think he's in the chat at the moment or listening. So I'll chat with him before we finish this. I'll see if it can be done. I think it would definitely make sense. Right, I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we'll work on this screen. So this screen basically is just these things down here. So we don't actually have anything for these at the moment. So that's a brand new kind of entity that we need to put in. So we'll start by just checking the main game and seeing how they work. I think we might need a door in here as well. We might need a door to appear here and close behind us, but that's fine. There's no. It's not hugely important that if it's there, we'll add it in. It should be easy anyway. It's just going to be like the Robotron one, but it never opens again, I don't think. So yeah, I'll take a quick break. I don't know how long's left. The quiz isn't up, is it? No. So I'm going to take a quick break now, and then when I come back, we'll take a look at these new things. So they say the old sound routine is incorrect. It kind of is. I mean, it kind of is. I've been fighting against it from the beginning, really, because of the amount of raster time it takes. But it's fine. I'm sure we can come up with something. All right, I'll be back in a few minutes, guys. Be right back. Well, that was an incredibly relevant quiz. I think I'll stop the break then. Yeah, I have. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's incredibly relevant. That's cool. Hello, you. She's come to see me because I just ate a few crisps and she wants the crisps. Don't you? There's nothing in there though. Say hello to everybody. No. You little baby, you are, aren't you? Okay. So I think we'll start by taking a look at what these actually do. And while we're at it, we'll check if that door is indeed present. So let's just pretty much all. Actually, I have a video. It's probably better if I look at the video that Andy gave me, actually. So thank you, Zendar, for the resub. Very much appreciate it, as ever. Cheers. I just gave them a load of dreamies, so they kind of jumped up and got excited about things. There's Andy. Hello, Andy. So we're just going to have a look through. Let me just mute this as well. Please screen is going postal. Oh yeah, isn't it? Why is it doing that? Let me refresh the overlay. I don't know why it's doing that. Refreshing the overlay will fix it. Okay, so we're looking at a playthrough that Andy from Thalamus did a while back now, June last year. But this is good because it will, I mean, it's a full playthrough of every single screen, so we get to see everything. Is the league fixed now? It looks like it is. Yeah, it seems to be. It's not scrolling. It's probably not enough people on it for it to scroll. It will only scroll if there's enough people. I can barely see it. Let me just bring it over here so I can see. This is my new panel. Yeah. Oh, it probably needs one more person to be on it. So yeah, it's probably a font size thing. Let me write it down. It'll be a font size thing because I did do some font adjustments. So minor issue. How fast should it change? It shouldn't change that quickly. But maybe there's a weird bug in it somewhere. So basically it should display, do any scrolling, and then there should be a few seconds pause before it does it. It's like 8 seconds, I think. So the reason it's changing quickly is because there's no scrolling. When there's scrolling, it has to scroll through the whole thing before it shows. But yeah, that's why. Anyway, minor issue, not one that's I'm going to lose any sleep over right now. So let's try and skip this on a little bit. Okay, so we want to look at not this screen. We've done this one. Yeah, so there is a door on this screen. So let's watch as gets moved out of here. So not enough raster time. Yeah, I can hear cats plucking carpet. That's never a good thing. Okay, so there's a lot of chatter going on here as well, which is why. So okay, so as soon as you come into this screen, you can see the swarm is quite different, but this is something I'm going to worry about when we need to move the swarm. For now, I'm happy with the way that the swarm kind of works. We obviously have limitations due to the sprite multiplexer as well. We can't do too many things on one line, so we have to be careful how we group the swarm together. But we will look at the behavior of the swarm as a whole once we get to the point where it's moving. So the door does shut here. So the door shuts behind the player. So we need to do that. So let's add that in quickly before we go any further. So let's just pause this. Okay, so basically, once we pass through this door, it should close behind us and never be opened again. So there's two ways we can achieve that. We can either put the door in the map data itself, but doing that means we have to add characters to the character set. There are two clothes. Oh, is this one over here as well? Oh, I didn't see that one. I was too busy paying it. Oh yeah, two. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just add two doors in here. It should be pretty simple to do. We don't need to do anything particular. It doesn't need to close like straight away behind. I don't think. I think if we look at the way that the screen is entered, it's just automatically closed. It's not like the Robotron screen where it kind of closes behind you. Oh my god. There we go. No, it's just already closed. Oh, it's really hard to rewind. It's Windows Media Player, that's why. Oh no, it does close, but it is. I'm just gonna make it automatically be shut, I think. So let's just add to, because that's just going to be the simplest way to do this. It doesn't look like there's. It's such a small gap. Yeah, I don't think there's any need. Okay, so we take a look at screen 11, which does have a door on it, and we can have a look at how that works. So we have a door state, and we add a door in, and we add a switch for that door as well. So oh, this says whether the door's open or not. Okay, and we have door state, which is stored in the thing. Okay, so we need two doors. So we will need some door state, and we will need two door state things. So we've added the force field in here now. So we're going to add doors. So the first door is never going to open again. So this is the one over the other side of the screen. This is the one that we're actually going to grab from our dynamic state. So we will keep a very similar label up here called door state, and this will point to screen 12.door state, and that will be a value in here. And that will be here. And this will start, I believe, closed. Well, we'll figure it out when it loads, whether it's going to. And this one needs to be closed automatically anyway. I think this is open, isn't it? So 0 would mean it's closed, like that. And this one needs to be over the other side of the screen. So this needs to be at 0, and it is a vertical. Okay, so this is door left, and this is door right. And that should be all we need to set the doors up. But what we do need to do is we need to call them a door update in a loop. It's not actually going to matter for this particular screen at the moment because the doors aren't moving, but we should still do the cleanup and everything that we would normally do. So there is door state's been done in here. There should be doors update. There it is. So we'll put the doors update in here. And I don't know if there's a cleanup for doors. No, doors clear seems to be automatic. I'm not entirely sure of that, but we'll check that in a minute. So that should be enough. Hopefully that should be enough to give us give us those constants. Yeah, it's a good point actually. Constants for what? For door open and door closed. Yeah, that's a good point actually. That's a good point. Let's start using those. Let's start using those. Well, let's work out which is which first, I guess. Okay, so I was almost right, but the door needs to move down. Looks like 2 on that side, so let's move that one down. And this is door closed. Okay, so let's call that door closed. Let's put that into. And then add them into the constants file. Actually, don't we have something for doors like door vertical and stuff already in here? No, I might need that as well at some point. I thought we did. Okay, never mind. Quiz clock isn't run. Oh, I didn't start. There we go. You get free race because I restarted the overlay. So okay, cool. It's really hard for me to see the quizzes now. So oh, it really does look like a double jump. Oh, I would have gone for Double Dragon 1 as well then, as well. Even though I know it's Double Dragon 2, looking at it. But yeah, I would have fallen into the same trap there. Okay, that is good. So we've got 2. Oh, let's get rid of this force field flicker thing. We don't need that anymore. Look at the difference now. We're using hardly anything for this force field, which is pretty good. So I think 3 is kind of the magic number here. We can try performance improvements here to bring this down even more. We'd even maybe even tie this into the performance value somehow. I'm not sure how. But it could be something like we probably will at some point have like is NTSC macro, where it will only do certain things if it's NTSC, or just a flag somewhere if it's NTSC. Did I re-enable music? Yeah, music is on. It might be a bit quiet though. Is it quiet? Yeah, I've knocked it up ever so slightly. Oh no, in the game, no, I didn't. I'm not thinking straight, am I? Very, very good point. But yeah, the force field itself is using not very much raster time at all. Okay, so let's think about this now. If we don't need to do anything on the doors, we can move on to the next screen. Yeah, just need to make sure that they are in the right place, which they are. Okay, good. And I just want to check that moving from that screen into this one doesn't break anything. So I'm going to do that. Just going to set it at once in here. Where's the game screen? There we go. You just want to make sure it doesn't break when you go through there. Like it's not going to, you're not going to get stuck or anything. I'm a little bit worried about one of my cats at the moment. She's got to go to the vet soon to be neutered. We've been putting it off for a while because of the pandemic and everything. So we're going to take her. Cool, it doesn't go trap. That's good. So we're going to take her to vet fairly soon. But she's her right eye has started getting very cloudy, and I'm wondering if she's starting to get a cataract in the eye, or if it's just an infection. But it's been like that for probably about a month now. It's only very faint. It's only very, very slight difference, but there's a definite difference between her eyes. One is nice and sparkly and clear, and the other one has got a very slight cloudiness to it. It doesn't seem to bother her. She doesn't seem to be unable to see through it. She seems perfectly fine with it. She doesn't seem ill in herself at all. She seems, otherwise seems fine. But there's just something not quite right with that eye, and that's what reminded me of it, because it does feel like there's something going on that she's hiding. Anyway, so I'm hoping the vet can give us some information about that when we go. Okay, cool. Right. So now we're going to do these things. So these, I think they have 2 states. They have this they're active state and they have a dead state as well. So they probably are going to need some persistence data. So we're going to have to add something to a script to detect these things, and we're going to have to add something to the persistence data to say whether they've been destroyed or not. This might mean we have to do some juggling around of some values, but it shouldn't be too difficult to do. I'm not sure how much room we've got for extra entities. Well, I guess we'll just have to see. Let's have a look. So, oh god, I left it playing. It's not the best frame rate on. Oh, mind you, it was a Skype desktop share. That's why. Okay, so I think we had a bit of a discussion about how that screen would be done. Yeah, so you can see here, there's these little dots on top of them, and the little dots shoot off. They aim throughout a 180-degree arc, and they shoot off. And then when they're destroyed, they leave behind these little markers. So there's two ways we can do this. One, we can have these as normal entities, so they get spawned just like any other entity, like a mine or a spike or a barrel, and they just have a destroyed state as well. So in the same way that we remove entities that have been destroyed, we can do the same with these, but instead of removing them, we leave these things behind instead. The other way we can do it as well is we can create entities again on the map, and then use sprites to place over the top. But I think the first system is probably going to be the simplest, and we already have the mechanics for most of that in place. So I think what we'll do is we'll start by just creating something that we can destroy and that leaves behind these things, because that's going to be the closest that we get to those things. But we are going to need these things, and I don't think we have these in the character set, so we're going to have a look. We may need to add some stuff to the character set for this. So let's have a look. Let's open up the map. So I certainly haven't seen that shape anywhere. So I don't know if Thalamus is around. He's probably not, but we might have to get him to look into adding that in. He's also fixed. Yeah, he's fixed this bit here and this bit down here as well. Wherever it was. Oh, excuse me. Another reason I should take my antihistamine, so don't sneeze when I pick the cats up. Oh. I have a duplicate dome character in there, if I recall. There shouldn't be any duplicates in here now. They should have all been removed and compressed. It's fine. We've got room for another 80 characters, so we can definitely fit this in. It's really not a problem. The only problem is working out how to implement this. So let me just get to this screen. There it is. Because at the moment, we only have the domes as they are, like this. We don't have the exploded states of these. Now, my instinct is to go with a simple version of this, which is we remove the top characters here, and then we use a version of this which just fills two. So a slight kind of the jar second in on the bottom row. Wait. Wait, do you mean in here? Oh, in the character set. Second in on the bottom row. Do you mean on here? Oh, that's this, isn't it? Yeah. No, it's not. Hang on, what is that? Well, where the hell is that then? Is that what you mean? This thing here? Oh no, that is that. Yeah, that is this. Yeah, it's this top thing here. So that's fine. But we are going to need to find a way to reduce this down to. So we're probably going to need some extra characters on the end here. So I think what we'll do is we'll start by just making these destroyable, right? So we'll start by marking these up as a character that we can destroy. So let's give it a unique color. So let's do this one first. Let's make it green color. So you can see there the bottom ones are green. Now there's going to be two types. Now they're both going to point to basically the same thing. But they're both going to have a different top left corner. So they're going to be different entities, technically. Why not just remove them completely? Yeah, I mean, we can do that, but I want to try and, if I can make it work like the original, I want it to work like the original. It's going to add 4 characters to the character set. It's not a big issue at all. I want to compromise as little as possible. And the reason I want to do that is because individually small compromises don't seem like a lot, but when you start piling them all in, suddenly the game feels very different. So my aim is to try and get as close as possible with everything, and only compromise when we absolutely have to compromise. So usually because of performance reasons, things like that. So, hey, Prince Face. Just need the hamburger plate to stay behind. Yeah, I need to find the top half of that. So where's the top half? You want to see where that is? Oh, I can do this kind of. It gives me the jar 1, 2, 4. Okay, so yes, that one there. And let's make that light blue. Oh, let's actually let's do pink or orange. There we go. So I want it to be a different color. Okay, so we've got 2 different things here. So we've got 2 new entities that we need to add. So these are 2x2 entities. That means they need mapping adding to them. So the material mapping that we had, this 1, 2, blah, blah. So we need 1, 3, 4, 5, and that needs to be on here. So 1, 3, 4, 5. And it also needs to be on the other one, which I've lost now. 257. There it is. 1, 3, 4, 5. So this makes them detectable. Hey, Thalamus, you promised me no compromises. Exactly, that's what I mean. I'm only compromising when absolutely have to. I really don't want to make a compromise because it's easy. I only want to make a compromise because it's necessary. So that's what we're going. So I was just saying there's a couple of little things, Thalamus, which would be. Well, the main one is the music. I don't know if you saw Jason's post on Twitter, his tweet on Twitter about him modifying Goat Tracker. If he could redo this music in Goat Tracker, that would be an absolute godsend because it would give us a bit of extra raster time, probably about 10 to 15 raster lines extra, and the possibility of using sound effects as well later. There was something else. What was the other thing? Can you remember what the other thing was? I can't remember. Damn, I can't remember. Listen should support a message parameter. Yeah, that's a good point. Actually, do you know what? Listen is my thing, so why not? With text to speech would be good. Oh yes, the the characters. So one of the things that we don't have in this character set is what's he crying at? Pia, what Pia? What are you crying for? Just cat randomly crying. Text to speech would be heavily abused on the listen. Yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? That's a good point. But it would be good to just add it in, I guess. Yeah, that's a very good point. Yeah, so when these are destroyed, they leave behind these platforms, which we don't have at the moment. So my suggestion would be that we take 2 characters each, 2 for the bottom, 2 for the top, so that it's a nice kind of solid block, and just make those. If I can do those, it's easy. There's no point. I can do it and share it back with you again. I'm just trying to think what the easiest way to do this would be, because it would have to be loaded in. No, it would have to be dynamic. It would have to be dynamic. It can't be in the character set, because if it's in the character set, it has to be on the screen for it to be loaded. If it's not on the screen when the screen's being pulled across, then it has to be drawn. It has to be destroyed later. So, yeah, I mean, you could, but it doesn't look quite right. Right? It doesn't. It just looks a bit wrong. So what I'm thinking is to just take these characters, copy them, and just delete that tops, the garbage off the top, basically. So the platforms are all the same. It means it's ever so slightly different from the other one, but it means it would fit neatly into this space. I think it would be all right. No compromises. Why not just draw the T-shape from the video? T-shape from the video. Yeah, I mean that's what it is, though, isn't it? That's exactly what it is, I think. So it would just be, except the top and bottom would be. Well, I'll see, because maybe I can get the bottom one to match anyway. And it's only 4 characters. It just means whenever these entities are loaded in, there needs to be 4 dynamic characters loaded in as well. Which kind of feels like they should be in the base set, maybe, or something. So think about this. The ones in the map now are probably modified to fit. Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, I think it's. So the problem I've got is, how do I, when this map loads in? So the way this works is, any characters that are part of the. Let me just set the flexi grid up. Any characters that are part of the map, the screen as you load in, get loaded into the character set. So everything we see in this square here gets loaded into the character set. So that means these get loaded in as they are, but the bases don't, because the base has this piece on the top. So that's where SP's thing would work. Like if we were just to shave the top off, then we wouldn't have any problem. But unfortunately, it doesn't look great. It looks a bit naff. So the problem we've got is we need to now remove these whenever this screen is loaded, or while this screen is loaded and one of these is destroyed. We need to remove these and replace them with different things here, which complicates things a little bit, because it's now the data is always going to look like this in ROM. This is what we're going to see. This is what this screen looks like. This is what this screen is always going to be, regardless of how many times you've been to it, whatever is exploded on it. And you can see that when you go in the game, even though we're loading that screen in, you can see that these have been removed, because the persistence data is removing those when we move into the screen. Now, with things like these and the mines, the way they're removed is just by blanking them out, and that blank is this character here. It's character 0. It's available on every single screen. You modify the bottom ones to be short and match the top ones, done for a couple of reasons to make them fit within tiles, to give the player more room to move. Okay, cool. Yeah, all right. That makes it a bit easier. So yeah, so it would make sense to have that just one platform basically. So I think what needs to happen here is anytime this screen loads in with these and these particular entities, I've got it. I know how this works. Okay. Move them from the screen and create function to add. Yes, that's kind of what I'm thinking. So we basically treat these like we would do these. They get treated exactly like these. They're just an object that if you shoot it enough, it will disappear. It's going to be like a spike, but it's going to last for maybe 10 shots or 5 shots or whatever. That means that when it's destroyed, it just gets removed from the screen. There's nothing there at all. However, when you load in the screen, there'll be a dynamic piece of code that's loaded in which says whatever they're called, homing turrets, right? Let's call them homing turrets for now. And you define them the same way we define a door, the same way we define a laser beam, or, you know, we basically give it a start position where it is on the screen, and that's it. And we can point it to the persistence data. We can say, here's the thing, and is it dead or alive? And then that is what's responsible for controlling the homing thing, but also responsible for clearing it if it needs to be cleared. What if they were put up next to players who include then that up next to? What if they were put up? What? Oh, I see. The problem is it's not so much that they're. It's loading map data, so this is how it all looks in. The map data is stored like this. It's just one huge block of data, and we just take in chunks out. There's no color information at all in there, so we couldn't just put them in. But I think what we can do is we can treat them like these. So the initial step is to make them just something you can shoot and it disappears. Then the next step is to create a function which says whatever it is, whatever 2x2 block I'm pointing at is a turret, and then that way you don't deal with the collision, the bullets, and things like that in that dynamic code. But what you do deal with is if the thing is dead, then you display something different. You clear it and display something different. So it's kind of two systems coming together to create a kind of a custom thing here, which actually is kind of nice because that means we can do similar stuff elsewhere as well. Let's try to think. Is there a reason we need to have it split, or could we do it? What's up with you? Why are you crying? Here, come up here. Come and say hello. Why are you crying? What's up? Hey, what's up? No, okay. What's up with you? Hey, no, not happy. He's not happy about something. I don't know what. He lost a toy or something. He wants AMK points. So I'm just thinking, is there a reason why it needs to be two things? Does it need to be a persistent map entity and also a dynamic entity as well? Or can it just be one? So in the same way that the door is just a single dynamic entity. How will you hot swap the turrets on the fly if they've already been destroyed? Oh, that's really simple. So at the moment, what happens when you go between the screens is they're displayed, right? You see them, you see them, you see them. And you'll notice that the stuff that's been destroyed, you don't see at all. So we can make it so there's either a blank or there's something there. And then all we have to do is in the same way we handle the force field in the doors. Why are the doors not appearing on this now? Oh, this is I think this is an older one. Yeah, this is an old one. It's not got the doors on. In the same way that the force field and the swarm disappears as soon as the screen starts scrolling, that's what will happen. So it would scroll in with blanks here, but as soon as the screen stops, it would show the new destroyed turrets, basically. So I think it would work quite well. All right, let's start by making these destroyables. So we've started that work already here by adding the materials in. So that's why we've got the colors in here. And we should see now, if I do this, it should be 1, 3, 4, 5, same as these over here. So now we need to go and change the script a little bit. Let me just pour myself a red wine. And let's take a look at what we've got. So there's a few things we need to do. First of all, we need to look at entities because we need to add in something new in here. Now, entities at the moment, actually, it will be in constants, won't it? Where's the entities? Yeah, so we have these entities here. And they're doubled. Okay, no, this is fine. It's because we don't use the first bit. So the very first bit is part of the map data. Then it's entity types here. And then the explode attributes. So we've actually got room for up to 8 entities. 1, 2, 4. Yeah, up to 8 entities here. We're only using 3 at the moment. So we can make this into a single entity because it doesn't matter which way up they are. So let's do this. Let's call it. I don't know what to call this. I'll call it a homing turret because that's kind of no. Call it aim turret, and we basically. This is number 1, number 2, number 3. Actually, 7 entities we've got, not 8, because one will be. Actually, we could have one which is 0 still. So. But for now, we'll work our way through. So the reason these numbers are doubled is because of this here. In fact, I'm going to put a little note on here. So they're doubled because of where they are in here. So the first one is actually the bit 1 in here, not bit 0, and so on. So we'll call it aim turret, and that will allow us to do some other stuff. So that means now we need to write a script portion in here to deal with that. So we don't have anything for that at the moment. So what we're going to do, we're going to create 2 new constants in here. I'm going to call this aim turret down. Let's just put a value in for now. And aim turret up. So a turret that's aiming down is this one here, and that starts with this character here, which is character number 124, and the one that's aiming up is 257. So 124, 257. Okay, so there's the characters that we're recognizing here. Why are these numbers shifted as well? These are doubled again for some reason. Wait, what's going on here? The +4 on each one. So this, which would make that, but that seems like it's too. So we need 2 different identifiers to pick up the ones that are facing down and the ones that are facing up, because remember, it always looks for the top left character of the block. And that's different whether it's pointing down or up. But once we've discovered what they are, we can use a single entity ID to identify them. We can then use other data to work out whether it's pointing down or up by checking like the character on the screen and things like that. So I'm a little bit worried that this is. We need to have a look at this because I feel like this should be different to what it is. I don't know why it's like this at the moment. Because it says shifted by 1, but it's like shifted by 2 here. Let's just play around. We'll get this right. We've not added anything to this for a long time, so it's going to take a while to get this right. You can see there's other stuff in here as well. So we'll leave them on 4 hits for now. We can change these. Bonus. Why has it got bonus numbers on here? Force by mine. Okay, well, I don't quite know what the bonus does. We'll come back to that. This is the bit I'm interested in. Where is it getting this from? So, oops. Okay, so a bit of JavaScript. God. Okay, it makes that the high nibble entity. I feel like this is not right for some reason. Okay, well, I'm going to put it in. I'm not sure why this is. Okay, so we need to add one in for each of these. I have no idea what's going to happen here. Well, we shall see. So again, 2 entities, but they're both aim turrets. Now, attribute R shifts 4 across, so it becomes the high byte, and then that becomes the low byte. I feel like that's not. I feel like it's not right. To have a play around with that. Okay, so this is screen persistence there. Okay, let's just save it out and see what happens. Save that file. You're very chatty. What's going on with you? Yeah. He's trying to get into the bed, and the other cat's just swatted him. Like, fuck off. This is my area. Go away. That's kind of funny. You're a bully. She's watching him now as well. All right. Oh, why is it going so laggy? This is having some serious problems with Charpad. I don't know what's going on with that. Okay. So this isn't going to do. Actually, what is this going to do? This isn't going to do anything, is it? Because I need to set the entities up to use this new value. So I need to go into here, wherever it is, entity. Oh, maybe. Well, maybe it will work. Actually, maybe it will just work because I think entities by default will just be able to be removed or not based on those values. If it's worked, I have a feeling it's not going to work properly though. We're going to get some weird stuff going on. We're starting on this screen again, hasn't it? Oh, well, will you look at that? It really was that simple. So the reason that worried me then, let me just show you why I was worried. So I know in the entity data, and this is probably where I need to get some clarification on what the hell I'm doing here. Is it this one? Oh no, it's in constants in it now. So in here, I've got how the data is set out, and the entity type is just stored in 3 bits, and it's stored in the bits 1, 2, and 3 of this upper byte of the 16-bit map data. So for that reason, we have to shift the values to the left by 1. So this is entity 1, this is entity 2, this is entity 3, this is entity 4, but the numbers are doubled. Hence why this comment's in here. But then when I go in here, the entity numbers seem to be quadrupled. And I'm not entirely sure why. I mean, I'm not going to argue with it because it seems to work. Yeah, that's why I'm confused, because it worked. Best of code is one you wrote once. Yeah, and this was written a long time ago. This was written easily a year ago. This is one of the earliest pieces of code that was written. I just don't understand it. I mean, I've even got the data here exactly the same with the 3 bits here, but for some reason, and then you see these entity numbers here. Table of sets. You mean this? I don't know what you mean. But anyway, the point is what it's doing is it's adding it to these values here. It's adding it to what should be the lower nibble, but it seems to be moving it to the high nibble. I'm confused. Oh, offsets. Maybe. It just doesn't make any sense why this is working the way it is at the moment. I think I might have to investigate the map data a little bit to make sure that I'm not doing something weird that's just not -5 over time wasted. And make sure I'm not doing anything too crazy. I need to kind of just go through it again and take a look. But what we should see, if we just go back now, is when I leave the screen and come back in, they're gonna they've removed too much though for some reason. Oh, that's interesting. Why has it done that? It is interesting. And how many is that? Is that 2? It is 2 carrots, isn't it? Why is it removed more at the bottom? Does it think it's 2 by 3, maybe? Okay, so we'll look at the map again. So, I mean, it's almost exactly what it needs to be, but so it seems to be taking these 2 characters out here. Like if I just, I'm going to take them out. I think the map's I think it's screwed up at the moment. Oh, there we go. Oops. Is that what we're seeing? Is that exactly the pattern that we're seeing? I feel like that's more. I feel like that's more than. Hang on, 1, 2. Oh yeah, it's taken a 3x3. It's not taken a 2x2. It's taken a 3x3. Yeah, it is wider. Yeah, it is indeed. All right. Okay, that means it's cleared a 3x3, so it thinks it's something else. So is that something that changes in here? Bonus pod. No, it doesn't really say what size it is in here. No, okay. So it's not related to that. So this is going to be in entity. Remove if already dead. Okay. So how does it remove? It's just trying to remember how this works is freaking crazy. So there's only one entity which is. Yeah, let's check. Oh, maybe there's a fall through. Maybe it's removing everything as 2x2. It's going to be in here. So it's a persistence thing, right? So it's basically when it goes to remove these items. But it doesn't look like there's anything directly in here doing the removal. Which makes me think there's another file doing the removal. But where the heck is that? Is it in the map loader? Destroyable persistence remove. Aha, right, okay. So destroyables. Oh, of course, because it is a destroyable, which is in sprites, isn't it? No. Yeah, because I put it in there for whatever reason. 6 byte mine size. Yeah, exactly. I think what it's doing is it's checking for various conditions, and it's probably falling through to the default, which will be the 6 byte mine. That's my theory, anyway. Can drops. Bonus type. Right, let's write some information in here. So type 1 or 2, a barrel or spike. Oh, maybe that's what that bonus type is for then. So bonus type 4, 6 spike mine. So if I change that to a 0. Okay, so it looks like. So 0 is nothing removed 2x2. 1 equals spawn 100. Oops, shit. Let's remove 2x2. Yeah, so it's just down to this bonus side, which is pretty cool. So again, I'd already thought about this and created a system for this. I just didn't do anything documentation wise about it. So this is spawn diamond. Let's remove 2x2. Spawn bonus plus remove 4x2 and 6 spike mine, which does nothing, and remove 3x3. 4 spike mine and mine both don't do anything. That's just down to the default behavior. Yeah, okay, that should be fine. All right, that should be good. Cool. I like that it's all kind of. I like that there are systems in place for all of it. This is what I was on about the architecture being kind of nice and reusable. Is that it does have a lot of stuff in it already. Actually, more than I thought it had. Obviously, I should probably spawn on that screen now, shouldn't I? Instead. Okay, so let's hopefully now if I. Let's just try that first. Yeah, that's good. And if I remove these two, because it's not when you destroy them, it's when the persistence data removes. Perfect. Awesome. Celebrate with a bit of a drinky. So the next step is to add some additional features to these things. So we're going to create a new element here. So this screen only has these on, doesn't have any other dynamic code on. So for now, we can put this just in our dynamic code list, which I think is in my map, isn't it, somewhere? Let me get rid of all of this crap now that I don't need. Also, what screen number are we on now? Screen number 22. Okay, just so we'll remember where we're at. So we're going to need a screen 22 dynamic writing in here, which we don't have at the moment. We just have the basic entity and persistence data. The persistence data, as we should be able to see now, I should have. Let's find where is the. Where is it? That's the export. There we go. Yeah, so there we go. There's two of the aim turrets. There's the other aim turrets as well. So they're listed in the persistence data for the screen, which is good. And the system works. The code is being commented properly automatically, which is nice. And that's probably down to this thing here, this name field in here. My throat's going as well. I seem to be this house makes my throat hurt while I stream for some reason. I think the air's do it. He's found a very high spot and he's just sitting on it, like looking pleased with himself. Hello. You happy up there? Oh yeah, because this is just names, isn't it? So it really doesn't matter here. So yeah, if we run this now, it's that northern air. I am slightly more north. That's true. So we run this now. Hopefully, we should in our persistence data see. Yeah, aim turret down, aim turret up, so we can see exactly which ones are which. Now, the thing is, we're not going to be able to tell from this data directly which is which. Can't remember what this data is in this order anymore, but so that's something else we need to figure out how to convey whether it's pointing up or down. At the moment, it's doing this because this is just counting hit points. So this is the number of hit points. I believe this column here could probably be used for it. Whatever this one is. Let's have a look what that is. It's the third piece of data. Sorry, fourth piece of data. So we pass in X and Y, hit points, bonus foul, and whether the screen shakes. Okay, so this is that bonus value that gets passed in. We could use the we could use the persistence data to the bonus value to do it. Or we could set the flag up here. Let's use the higher bits on here and set a flag. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. God damn it! You're giving me kind of crazy ideas that so you can do it in here. Kind of hang on. Where's the screen persistence here? And then wait, hang on. Blah blah blah. Here. No. And this would be this would be XPOS, YPOS, HP. Uh, there we go. It's a good idea. I like it. We've got about another half an hour to go. I might stop a little bit early because we're at a pretty good point. But what I'm going to do before I do that is just set up this dynamic screen, set some of these values as well, so I actually start in the right place and stuff. So we'll set that dynamic screen loader up. We'll create the file that actually creates the. So check that that's done it. Oh, why is that not? Oh, because I didn't do add, did I? All right, hang on. Yeah, perfect. Cool. Then I don't have to think about it again, so it's nice having that. Is that what you meant? I assume that's what you meant.
Hi.
Nope. Thanks for the resub, 650 Kebab. Welcome to the stream. We've got about another half an hour to go before I stop. I'm feeling rather itchy and horrible and a bit kind of. Ugh. So maybe I need to drink more booze as well. I've done about 2/3. Yeah, I thought so. You've got a brain that thinks very similar to how I think. So new layout, yes, indeed. I thought we'd do a bit more efficient use of space and emulate the Amiga OS kind of thing with a bit of Windows XP in the bottom left. More booze is the answer. Yeah, more booze is the answer. More booze is definitely the answer. No, I feel horrible not in a booze way. It's just this freaking hives shit from the vaccine. It's really kind of screwed me over a little bit. I mean, I'm grateful to have the vaccine. Don't get me wrong. I'm definitely not anti-vax or anything. And although I will be hesitant to have a fourth one if I get offered it, just because of the side effect of that it's had on me. It's really kind of floored me for. So I had my last shot just before Christmas, the week before Christmas, and then 2 weeks later, I was absolutely fine. I barely felt ill at all. I barely felt ill at all. And then 2 weeks later, I got the autoimmune response that you're supposed to get, but this time my body went into overdrive, and since then I've just had hives basically constantly. So I've 6 weeks now of 6 weeks of hives, 6 or 7 weeks actually of hives. Like starting with the most intense. I've never had it like that before. Just head to toe, absolutely head to toes. No, I'm happy to get the vaccine. I'm absolutely happy to get the vaccine because if I do get COVID, it will be mild. And then if I get COVID and I've also been vaccinated, my immunity will be through the roof, which is exactly what I want. I'm just reluctant to have a fourth one until I get a bit more information about what the hell's going on with my body at the moment, because I don't think until this is gone, I don't think I could do this kind of itchy stuff again. Like today was the first time in 6 weeks I didn't take an antihistamine, and I regret it. I totally regret it. I wish I had now. I've managed to get myself down from 4-fexofenadine a day, which is a lot. I mean, most people will only take one a day, and I'm taking 4 a day at the beginning of doctor's orders. In fact, the manual only said the leaflet inside says to only take one, but the doctor said no, you can take up to 4, you'll be fine. So I was taking 4 at first because it was the only thing that would stop it, and then I've weaned that down. I'm now off the fexofenadine because you can't drink orange juice and shit like that with it. So I stopped taking that, and now I'm on cetirizine in the morning. So I take a cetirizine in the morning just to take the edge off the itching, and then I take a Piriton before I go to sleep because it knocks me to sleep, and it's a little bit stronger because it gets worse at night. That's why I'm itchy now. Once I start getting tired, my body gets worse. So, but yeah, I will take the vaccine if I feel up to it, but I'm not going to jump straight into it. I'm going to be careful because I sound like a junkie. Yeah, that's the thing. If you didn't know who I was and you didn't know what I was doing, you would assume that was what was going on, because I'd be, I'll be stood at the door taking a delivery, kind of itching and kind of doing this all the time, and I probably do look like a smack addict or something. But I have other issues as well. So I've got kind of I've got digestive problems, I've got asthma problems. It's really not a good idea for me to get COVID at all. So I have to weigh it up a little bit. At the moment, if I was offered a fourth jab, I wouldn't take it, but that's simply because I'm not over the last one. If I can get over this and I can find a way to control this better, then I would probably take a fourth one if I was offered it. But and the weird thing is as well is it's not an allergic reaction, it's an autoimmune response. It's an overactive autoimmune response. So the usual side effects that they're looking for are allergic reactions. Allergic reactions, stuff that happens in the first 7 days or whatever. But for me, it happened, almost 2 weeks after. In fact, it was 2 weeks after, almost to the day. After the injection, perfectly fine for 2 weeks, not a problem at all. And then I started getting the hives, and the hives started in my chest, and it felt like there was something weird going on in my chest, which is why I went to the hospital and had ECG and stuff, because it felt like something weird was going on with my heart, but it wasn't. It was just the hives in my throat, but right down here behind my breastplate. So yeah, not good. So yeah, I mean, it's something I think I might have to. I've always had this as well. I've always had reactions to flu jabs as well. Flu jabs have always left me a bit itchy here and there as well, and it's a very similar vaccine. So it's not, it's not just a COVID thing. It's just that with a flu jab, I would get one a year, or maybe one every 2 years. But the COVID one, I've had 3 in the space of a few months, right? So it's obviously my body's not able to deal with that, and it's anyway, as I say, not anti-vax at all. Please, if you can, do get vaccinated. Not just for yourself, you do help others as well. So please go and do that if you can. But I fully understand. I understand the people who don't want to do it because of the reactions. I fully get that now. And to be honest, I never really had a problem with people that would say things like that. It was the people that would say stuff, like Bill Gates is controlling us with his nanobots and his 5G. It's just like, okay, that's where I draw the line. I'm not going to tell you to go to, force you to go and get one. or complain if you don't. But if you're going to tell me that you're not getting one because Bill, I'm not going to argue with you. I'm just going to ignore you. I'm going to ghost you, wipe you from my life because you don't deserve to be in it. But yeah, whatever. I think we're in a good state now. Anyway, I think enough of the world has been vaccinated that it's going to be less of a problem. At least in the first world, anyway. I know there's less of a a decent rollout in the third world countries. I know that's a massive problem. But the Facebook one that worries me. What's the Facebook one? They use COVID to control us to realize the Earth is not flat. To not realize the Earth is flat. Oh man. Oh, what's that? Okay. Oh, the nanobots. Oh my god. Yeah, the metaverse or whatever it is, it really bothers me, that thing. I mean, it is literally just Mark Zuckerberg trying to create Ready Player One, isn't it? That's what he's trying to do. He's trying to have that kind of control, and he wants to get ahead of everybody else. He can see it coming, and it probably is coming to a certain extent, but he wants to get ahead of everybody else, so that just like Facebook, he can control a huge amount of the world. And it bothers me a lot. All right, where were we at? I forgot what we were doing now. Okay, right, we're going to create a new screen, dynamic screen. So we need a dynamic screen for screen 22. So let's have a look at some of the other screens that we created, and we'll copy the data from that. So we've got screen 12 dynamic here. So let's grab screen 12 ASM. So we've got that there. We'll grab screen 22 ASM, and then we'll create a new file. We'll call it screen 022 dynamic ASM. There we go. That's in there now. I believe we need to add this to our screen loader as well, which is this one here. So screen 22 dynamic, that gets loaded in there. Screen 22 is already imported here. We have to import the screens because we need any screens that we're going to write code for need to be imported in here. And screen 22 is already in here. Okay, right. So screen 22 is set up now. We just need to create the dynamic labels for this. So let's do. So screen 22. Okay. And this would be __. Okay, cool. Right. So we've got that. So what do we need to do from this side now? So if we have a look at screen 12, what is it actually doing? Well, it loads in the dynamic screen, so we can do that, and it uses a set interrupt. So let's just copy that entire block there. Let's drop that into here. In it. Wait, what's that? Oh, because it's doing the update in it. Okay, it's in there. Okay, so yeah, 1 sec. I'll check in a second. Hang on. I copied it wrong. What did I copy wrong? That should be 12, 22, 22. Is that what you mean? Oh, yeah. Okay. I'm not gonna. I don't want to get into a vaccine argument. There's a lot of arguments that are just not true when it comes to the anti-vax sentiments. And while I respect everybody's decision to have whatever or not have whatever vaccine they want to have. I think misinformation is a massive problem at the moment. And unfortunately, it's absolutely rife all over the internet. And I don't think there's anything anybody can do about it. I think it's going to persist forever. The only way you're ever going to get rid of it is by shutting down the platforms that they're on. But the problem is that they're like, it's you shut down one and another is going to appear. It's not going to stop anything. So as much as it's as much as it's something I wish they would kind of disappear, I don't think it can. I think misinformation is going to stay there. It's a shame, but I mean, what can you do? Is that right? Do we do we must do the deregister entities. We must do. There's no way that these are not being handled on the other screens, or we're just lucky that there's no entities on the other screens, which is also a possibility, I guess. Actually, there are none on those screens, so let me just check. But I'm pretty sure there's no entity updates in here. No, let's check some of the other dynamic ones. So dynamic 10 maybe would have one in, I guess. But does screen 10 have it in? No. Oh, but there's no entities in here either. Because there's no mines. That's right. It needs to be mines. So it would be 21 dynamic, which is this one here. Yeah, which does. Okay. So it does have the register, it does have the update. Okay. That's fine. That's fine. Okay. I was just worried that it was doing it was not doing some stuff that it should have been doing. Okay, so those have to be in there. Okay, so we're going to load screen 22 dynamic, and then we're going to call init on it, and then these things don't need to exist. All right. So why are we doing this? So the reason we're doing this is because now we can load in dynamic code here. That's what this is doing here. This is a dynamic code loader section. So this enables us to add a new piece of code in. So at the moment, the dynamic code we've got is for force field, lasers, Robotrons, the Robotron prize, which is just that one screen. So it's really a good reason for it to be there. And the swarm, which is actually on 2 screens. It might actually be 3. I think it's 2 though. If low on bytes through a program, would you use the memory as low as 200 onwards? Yeah, you can do. What some people do is they relocate the stack as well. So if you set the stack pointer to something quite low down in memory, so instead of it being at 01FF at start, you can set it to start like 0140. If you know that you're never going to use more than 64 bytes of stack, which we probably never do, you can move the stack down a little bit, and then you can use the memory above that area as well. Because when you start the program, when you do an SYS, when you initially start the program, that address goes on the stack. So if the first thing you do is you relocate the stack to be down at the bottom, you're not relocating it, but just setting the stack pointer so it's now at like 40 instead of FF. You've now got instead of 256 byte stack, you've now got 64, right? So as long as you don't do more than 32 nested function calls, method calls, that will work absolutely fine. And 32 is quite a lot. You'd be hard pushed to nest 32 function calls like that. And it will never leak over the top of that, because what will happen is once you exit once the program goes back to wherever, it's just going to go back to 140 again. That's where you've set the ceiling, basically. The only time it's going to leak over that is if the program exits and it wants the exit code, and it works out where it goes. So you could quite easily gain another 192 bytes or more. It depends on what you're going to do. So Yeah, and Andy can probably only get to screen 3, I'd imagine. It's about, I'd say it's probably about 45 minutes to an hour of play, I would say, if you know what you're doing and you know where to go, you know what you're doing, and you know how not to die. It's probably about 45 minutes to an hour, I'd say. Maybe, yeah, 45 minutes to an hour. I think the video I've got is like 3 hours long or something. Maybe a bit longer. It's 5 hours long, but there's a lot of chatter in here as well. So it's not a good representation of the length of the game. But oh, hello. 30 minutes. Oh, that's less than I thought. Okay. Oi, fighting. He's being a bully. He's being the bully, isn't he? Not you. You're nice and chilled out. Cat's scrapping behind me. Okay. Okay, so we're loading that in. So yeah, so it means basically we can add a new piece of code in here. So I'm not going to do that now. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to set the memory location for it. So we're going to have a quick look. Stop it! Stop fighting. You come here. Come here. Come here. You're not in the mood, are you? You're just tired and want to sleep. Come here. Come here. She'll attack you. White cat is creeping now. She's cleaning. She's cleaning the other one. Just to say it's sorry for being a pain. Okay, so we can add something in. So at the moment, this screen doesn't share with anything, so we can probably add it into down here. However, I'm fairly confident it's going to share the screen with something else at some point. So I'm going to say let's put it at this location, F00. So let's put that down here. I don't know where it's going to go to, and this is going to be aim turrets. This should only be relatively small code, but let's set this up now, and then that's it. I'm going to set this up, and then I'm going to leave it till Thursday for the rest of this. So aim turrets, that goes here like so. And how does this look? Okay, so we have. Oops. He's going to swipe you if you're not careful. Okay, so aim turrets. Now this isn't going to do anything yet. We will sort that out later. But what we can now do is we can load that in from here. Like that, and this means we're going to have a piece of code that we can load in up there that we can start doing stuff with. The only other thing we need to do is we need to enable it in here as well. So it's a dynamic piece of code, so it needs to be initialized as such in here along with its start address. Cool. The reason we're going to keep it in this location here and not in this lower location here is that we can use the Vic banks to do the sprite handling, because there is going to be a little sprite that we're just going to add on, and the sprite's just going to move in a small circle. It's going to be one tiny sprite. It's barely going to be anything. We'll also put the characters that make up the exploded turrets. Basically, we'll put those in here as well, so we don't need to add those anywhere else in memory. They'll be loaded in dynamically. So let's just make sure that all builds correctly, and then I shall call it a night, I think. doesn't use the screen at 4. You're on about Steps' question. One more question. Do I need to leave some areas alone if using Xmizer? Does it need some space itself for its decrunching? Yes. We're talking about the stack. The Xmizer tends to use the stack area. So if you put stuff at 200 onwards, that's usually all right. Bear in mind as well that if you do load from tape, that 200 will be used by that tape loader as well. My recommendation, if you're going to do Xmizer, is to use 0300 onwards. Set the vector in 0318, I think it is, or something. I can't remember. If you have a look at the spiral codes, some of the spiral code entries had you set that vector where it just auto loads at a certain location. So if you don't do that and you do it from 0400 onwards and use run to auto run the program, then it's going to go into, because you're going to fill the screen and then the screen's going to try and write something and it's going to go all weird and wrong. You're better off using the vector 0300 and launching from there. Although actually with Xmizer it shouldn't matter. With Xmizer, I don't think it matters. I think you can safely use 0200 onwards. Just try it out. So just write a little program. Put it at 0200. Then fill bytes all the way up to, like, you can go all the way up to CFFF, I think. Fill bytes all the way up to there, but right at the very end, so just before it goes into D000. What the heck is going on out there? Just before it goes into there, just put something else, like do a border increment there, and then jump between the two. Then you've got a block of code that's being run at the beginning, run at the end, filled with bytes in the middle, and then just see how it Xmizes. And if it unpacks and runs correctly, i.e., runs something at the beginning and something at the end. I don't know, increment the border at the beginning at 0200, increment the screen color at the end, and then just jump back and just repeat doing those two things. I think it should work. You should be able to get 0200 to CFFFF with Xmizer. In fact, you should be able to get higher than that because Xmizer will compress it down. So you should actually be able to get to FFFA. You should be able to get all the way up to the end of memory. It's just when Xmizer compresses it, it will fit less than just below IO RAM. That's why Xmizer works as a kind of injector RAM sort of thing. That's not loading, is it? Let's see why not. Aim turret's dynamic car. Oh, we're not including. That's why we need to include the file as well. Amiga Musty Machine, what is this? Yeah, this is 6502 game dev. So, well, 6510 game dev technically. Commodore 64 coding in a modern kind of IDE with a modern assembler. Making things much simpler. Why is screen 2 donor 22 dynamite not finding the FAT file? All right, still got a problem here. Oh, because I've not put it in here. There we go. 22. Got to remember to add the files. If you're creating a new file, it needs to be added in. We've got lots of files to add in. So if it needs to be loaded from the cartridge, it needs to be added in. That's worked. If it says fat target all over the screen, it means it's worked, basically. Yeah. Let me just set those before I forget. Let me just set the screen position and mace back to here. And so one thing I haven't done at all since I've moved is upload any more videos to YouTube. So I am kind of I still haven't done my secondary machine. As soon as that is done, I will start passing some videos up to YouTube. I think in the future, once I get through the video backlog that I've got, in the future, I'll kind of try and do them relatively quickly. I'm not going to do too much in the way of processing them because I am a bit annoyed at the backlog. But if someone uses stat point for inspecting the stat, somehow putting parameters on the stack. Yeah, you probably could actually. Oh, what are you doing? Down! What the fuck are you doing, cat? What's up with you? Climbing on my freaking console shelves. Jesus. What you do? What's up with you? It's just like climbing up on these, like where my freaking consoles are. This is why I actually stuck the stands down. Stuck the stands down so that because I knew he would do that. He made it shells to play on, yeah. All right, we've got a crash here, so I want to fix the crash before I go. So let's have a look. Jump to screen 22 dynamic init. Okay, that should be fine. I don't know why that's not working. Is it this that's failing for some reason? Ah, yes, it probably is because 22A. Oh no, it's okay. That should be fine. And aim turret in here. Okay, that should be fine. Aim turrets doesn't need anything because we're not actually running any code from in there. I mean, he's agitated by something. I don't know what it is. It's bothering me that he was kind of making little crying noises before. So something's bothering him, and he's pacing around a lot. What's up with you? Come here. Come up here. What's up with you? Hey, what's up? What's the papers? What's this? Okay, all right. This is one for next time. We've got a reproducible cache anyway, and I know that the last thing I was doing was adding this dynamic stuff in. I'm pretty sure if I let's just put a temp in here. If I just do temp on all of these, it won't crash. Which means it's got to be to do with a dynamic code loading or something. Assuming it doesn't crash now, it might crash. So I don't know. Yeah, but nothing's going to explode properly now. Well, that's exactly how the mines work. The mines are. See how they're not activating because they've not got the dynamic code activated. So yeah, it's exactly how they work. Andy Sin, thank you for the follow. Just about to end though. We're going to go and find someone to raid. So I'll deal with the code next time. I've put these temps in for now. It's going to be something to do with this dynamic code loading. I'm not sure why it's not working. It shouldn't really have any issues. I need to figure out why it might be doing that. But it's not a big problem. We can work that out next time. It's absolutely fine. Okay, let's find someone to raid. Who've we got lurking around? Oh, I don't have my stream manager up, do I? Let me get a stream manager up. Hang on. Ugh. I thought I had a stream manager up. I don't. If anybody's got any ideas who to raid, let me know. I thought I had a stream manager up. I don't. If anybody's. There we go. Where's my raid panel? Oh, there we go. Is Hayes on? Oh, he is on. Let's go and raid Hayes then. Okay, let's raid Hayes. Okay, cool, guys. I shall see you all on Thursday. I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be doing Thursday. I'll try and take some antihistamines before then, so I'm not itching my ass off all night. I'll try and figure out what's up with my freaking cat right now. I don't know what's wrong with him. I'm scared of coming down in the morning to find everything smashed to pieces. So let's give him a start on the raid. Okay, cool. Thanks, guys. Thanks for joining tonight. It's going quite well. We shall get some crashes fixed on the next stream, add some turrets in, and then we move on to some other screens. I think the next screen is actually force field turning on and off. I've got some ideas for that anyway, as I said. Okay, cool. Right, I shall see you all on Thursday. Cheerio.